Waitress spent her last $10 helping a CEO. Next day, 50 millionaires brought something life-changing. Maya wiped her hands on her apron as she glanced around the small diner, the scent of coffee and fried eggs filling the air. The morning rush had already started, and the little bell above the door jingled constantly as customers came in for their breakfast. She moved quickly, balancing plates and drinks, making sure no one had to wait too long. Her smile never faltered, even though inside she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. At 27, Maya had been working as a waitress for nearly 5 years. She wasn't rich by any means, far from it. Every day was a struggle to pay rent, buy groceries, and make sure her younger brother had what he needed. Her father had passed away when she was 16, and her mother had left the family soon after. It had been just her and her brother Alex trying to survive on what little money they could earn. Maya had promised herself that no matter how hard life became, she would never let Alex feel the way she had as a child, lost, scared, and alone. The diner wasn't fancy. Its neon sign flickered sometimes, and the chairs were old and creaky. But to Maya, it was a place where she could feel some control over her life. The regulars knew her by name and trusted her recommendations. Yet, despite the friendly smiles and small talk, every shift reminded her of how tight her finances were. Her paycheck barely lasted a week, and there were times she went to bed hungry just to make sure Alex had something to eat. That morning, as she wiped down a table near the window, Maya checked her wallet. She had $10 left, $10 to last until her next shift, which wouldn't be for another 2 days. Her stomach tightened. That $10 was meant to cover her own lunch and a little bit of groceries. She had hoped it would be enough to buy rice and vegetables, maybe some milk for Alex. But as she looked around the diner, she noticed a man she hadn't seen before. He was sharply dressed, his shoes polished, a briefcase in his hand. He had the air of someone important, someone who belonged in offices far above the diner's ceiling fans. He approached the counter with a polite smile, and Maya felt a strange flutter of nervousness. Something about him seemed familiar, but she couldn't place it. "Good morning," he said. "Could I have a cup of coffee and the special, please?" "Of course," Maya replied cheerfully, trying to hide the fact that her hands were trembling slightly. She poured the coffee, steam curling around her fingers, and set a plate of eggs, toast, and bacon in front of him. The diner was busy, but she couldn't help stealing glances at him as he glanced over some papers, clearly absorbed in his work. He looked like someone who had important decisions to make, someone who had the world in his hands. As she collected the payment, Maya noticed him patting his pockets awkwardly. His smile faded slightly. "Oh no," he muttered. "I think I left my wallet in my hotel room." Maya's heart skipped a beat. She watched him bite his lip in embarrassment. She had seen it before, people who had worked hard, yet sometimes forgot the simplest things in life. She knew what it was to be short on money, to worry about whether you could pay for something that seemed small but mattered so much. Her mind raced. Her last $10 were sitting in her wallet. She could use them for herself, maybe buy a small loaf of bread and some eggs, enough to survive the next 2 days. Or she could help this man. It seemed crazy. Why would she spend her last money on a stranger? But something inside her stirred. Maybe it was the kindness she wished someone had shown her during her own hard times. Maybe it was the feeling that doing the right thing mattered more than money. "Sir," she said softly, walking back to him, "don't worry about it. I can cover your meal." He looked at her in shock. You don't have to do that," he said, clearly uncomfortable. Maya shook her head. "I insist. Consider it a small act of kindness. You'll pay it forward someday, I'm sure." He hesitated, but then, with a grateful smile, he nodded. "Thank you. Truly thank you." As he ate, Maya returned to her duties, but her mind didn't rest. She felt a mix of fear and hope. She had given away her last $10, and now she had nothing left for herself. What if something went wrong? What if she needed money urgently? Her stomach growled, reminding her that she hadn't eaten yet. But despite the worry, she felt something else, an unexpected warmth. Doing something selfless, even when it was hard, felt right. During the next hour, she watched the CEO finish his meal. He looked up from his papers and smiled at her across the room. There was a glint of admiration in his eyes, not just for what she had done, but for the strength it must have taken. Maya realized that small acts of courage, acts that seemed insignificant to the world, could make a difference. Sometimes, the world was waiting for someone brave enough to act. The diner began to empty after the morning rush. Maya sat down for a quick bite of the sandwich she had stashed in the back, but she barely touched it. Her mind replayed the moment over and over. She thought about Alex and how she had always tried to teach him to be kind, even when life was hard. Maybe this small gesture would remind him that goodness existed in the world, even in the toughest times. By the time the CEO left, he had written a small note on the receipt. "Your kindness is rare and powerful. Never forget it." Maya folded the note carefully and tucked it into her apron pocket. She smiled to herself. She didn't know what would come of it, but something told her that life had a way of rewarding those who acted with pure intentions. That day, Maya left the diner feeling lighter than she had in weeks, even though her wallet was empty. She walked home slowly, taking in the cold winter air, feeling proud of herself. Life had been harsh, but she had chosen generosity over fear. And in her heart, she knew that sometimes, taking a risk for kindness could change more than just her own day. It could change everything. Maya returned home that evening, her steps slow and deliberate, her mind still replaying the events of the day. The streets were quiet now, the bustle of the city dimming into a soft hum of car engines and distant conversations. Her small apartment building, old and slightly worn, looked welcoming as ever. She carried her empty wallet in one hand and the note from the CEO in the other, turning it over and over in her fingers. Inside her apartment, Alex was sitting at the kitchen table, doing homework. The dim light from the single lamp illuminated his face, highlighting his furrowed brow as he concentrated on a math problem. "Hey, Alex," Maya greeted, setting down her coat and bag. "How was your day?" Alex looked up, his eyes lighting up when he saw her. "I'm okay," he replied, though his voice carried a slight edge of worry. He always worried about money, about what they would eat, or how they would pay for something unexpected. Maya sat down across from him, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "I had an interesting day," she said softly. She pulled out the note from her apron pocket and showed it to him. Alex read it slowly. "Your kindness is rare and powerful. Never forget it." His eyes widened. "Who's this from?" "Someone I helped today," Maya explained. He forgot his wallet and I covered his meal. It wasn't much, but he wanted me to know that it mattered. Alex looked thoughtful. "You spent your last $10, he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Maya nodded, and for a moment silence filled the room. "I don't know how you do it," Alex finally said. "Even when we don't have enough, you always think about helping others. I don't know if I could be that brave." Maya smiled faintly. "It's not about being brave. It's about doing what feels right, even if it's hard." She paused, watching him process her words. Sometimes the smallest things we do can have a bigger impact than we imagine. After dinner, which was just a simple meal of rice and vegetables, Maya sat at the table with her laptop. She wanted to finish a few applications for scholarships and part-time work, but her mind kept drifting back to the diner, to the CEO, and to the feeling of doing something selfless. She couldn't shake the thought that maybe, just maybe, this small act of kindness could ripple into something bigger. That night, as Maya lay on her bed, she thought about the many times life had tested her. She remembered her mother leaving, the bills piling up, the nights when she had no food but Alex did. She remembered the fear, the uncertainty, and the feeling of being invisible in a world that seemed to reward wealth and power over goodness and effort. And yet, despite it all, she had survived. She had continued to smile, to serve, and to help others even when it meant giving her last. Meanwhile, the CEO, Daniel, returned to his hotel room. He sat at the desk, still thinking about the young waitress who had covered his meal. In his world of high stakes and fast decisions, he rarely encountered people who acted purely out of kindness. Most interactions were transactional, driven by profit or ambition. But Maya's gesture was different. It was genuine, selfless, and rare. Daniel pulled out his phone and typed a quick note to his assistant. "Find out more about her. I need to share this story. People need to know that kindness exists in the world, even in the smallest acts." He pressed send before leaning back in his chair, staring at the ceiling. He knew that in his circle of business leaders, philanthropists, and investors, a story like this could inspire more than just admiration. It could spark action. The next morning, Maya returned to the diner for another shift. She felt the weight of her empty wallet as she walked, but she also felt a quiet sense of pride. She was greeted by the usual customers, who chatted about local news and daily routines. For a moment, it felt like life was normal again, even though deep down she sensed something had changed. As she served coffee and breakfast plates, she noticed a small envelope slipped under the counter. Curious, she picked it up and opened it. Inside was a handwritten note. "Thank you for your kindness. You have no idea how much it matters." There was no signature, no indication of who had left it. Maya felt a warm rush of emotion. Even though she didn't know the sender, the note reminded her that small acts of generosity never go unnoticed. Later that day, she heard her name being mentioned over the phone. One of the diner's regulars, Mr. Thompson, was speaking to someone in the lobby. "Maya?" she heard him ask. "Yes, she's the young lady who works the morning shift." Maya's curiosity piqued, and she listened carefully. The person on the other end of the line was asking detailed questions about her work ethic, her kindness, even her dreams. Maya felt a flicker of worry. Was this someone she should be concerned about? By the afternoon, Daniel had shared her story on social media and with a private group of influential business leaders he trusted. The story was simple. A young waitress spent her last $10 to help a stranger. But within hours, the post began to gather attention. Comments poured in, messages of admiration, encouragement, and gratitude from people around the world. Many said they wished there were more people like Maya, willing to put others first without expecting anything in return. Maya had no idea that her small act had sparked such a reaction. She went about her day, serving plates and pouring coffee, unaware that her life was about to take a turn she never could have imagined. That evening, she returned home to find her mailbox unusually full. Along with the usual bills, there were letters from strangers, some containing heartfelt notes, others offering help, advice, or opportunities. One letter in particular caught her attention. It was thick, professionally printed, and bore the letterhead of a local business network. It read, "Your story has inspired many of us. We would like to meet you and discuss opportunities that could help you achieve your dreams." Maya's hands trembled as she read the letter. She had spent her life focused on survival, never imagining that her choices, made out of compassion, could lead to such recognition. Her mind raced with possibilities. Could this really be real? Could her small act of kindness open doors she had never dreamed of? That night, Maya sat at her kitchen table with Alex. She shared everything she had received, the letters, the messages, and the note from the business network. Alex listened with wide eyes, his disbelief slowly turning into hope. "Maya," he whispered, "this is amazing. All because you helped someone, all because you cared." Maya smiled, feeling a mixture of pride and humility. She knew her life would never be the same. But more importantly, she realized that kindness had a power far greater than money, fame, or influence. It had the power to connect people, to inspire action, and to change the world, one small gesture at a time. As she prepared for bed, Maya felt a sense of calm she hadn't felt in years. Life was still uncertain, and challenges were sure to come, but for the first time in a long time, she felt that perhaps things were aligning in her favor. She had made a choice that reflected her values, and the world had noticed. Little did she know that the ripple she had started that morning was about to grow into a wave that would touch lives she could never have imagined. Her generosity had not only made an impact on Daniel, the CEO, but it had caught the attention of dozens of other influential people who admired courage, honesty, and selflessness. And soon, Maya would discover that sometimes, giving even when you have nothing can bring unimaginable rewards, not just in material ways, but in the kind of hope and inspiration that money could never buy. As the city slept outside her window, Maya drifted into a quiet, peaceful sleep. She dreamt of possibilities, of opportunities, and of the unexpected ways life could change when someone dared to act with pure kindness. The next day would bring new surprises, new challenges, and new hope. And while she didn't know what lay ahead, she felt ready, prepared to embrace it with the same generous heart that had defined her life so far. The next morning, Maya woke up with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She rubbed her eyes and stared at the letters that had piled up on her kitchen table. Overnight, her small apartment had become a hub of possibilities she could hardly believe. Every envelope, every note, seemed to carry a piece of a new future she had only ever dreamed about. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for one of the letters, her heart racing. Maya had spent her life focused on survival, and now it felt as if the universe had finally taken notice of her courage. She remembered Daniel, the CEO, and how she had simply chosen to help someone in need without expecting anything in return. That one act, which had seemed so small in the moment, had sparked a chain of events she could never have imagined. By late morning, Maya had sorted through the letters and emails, noting names, phone numbers, and addresses. Many were from strangers who wanted to offer encouragement or small financial assistance, but a few were from influential business leaders and philanthropists who had heard Daniel's story. One email in particular caught her attention. It was from a network of local millionaires, and the message was clear. "We would like to meet you. Your story has inspired us. We believe in your potential and want to offer opportunities that could change your life." Maya felt a lump in her throat. The words seemed surreal. Her mind raced with questions. Did they know about her struggles? Would they understand her dreams? And perhaps most importantly, could she truly trust that this wasn't a scam? Her heart beat fast as she read and reread the email, trying to calm the storm of emotions inside her. She called Alex into the room, holding up the email. "Look at this, Alex," she said, her voice trembling. People actually want to meet me. They want to help me just because I chose to do the right thing." Alex's eyes widened. He stared at her in awe, then smiled broadly. "Maya, that's incredible. You've always said that kindness matters, but I never thought it could do this. I mean, 50 millionaires. That's huge." Maya chuckled nervously, trying to calm herself. "I know, right? I can't believe it either, but it's real, Alex, and we need to be ready. If this is really happening, I want to make sure we don't miss the chance." That afternoon, she prepared carefully. She dug out her best dress, combed her hair neatly, and rehearsed how she would introduce herself. Though nervous, Maya felt a quiet sense of determination. She wanted to show these people that she wasn't just someone who received help. She was someone who could grow, learn, and contribute. When she arrived at the event, held in a beautiful hall in the city's business district, she felt a mixture of awe and intimidation. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, the marble floors reflected the sunlight streaming through the windows, and the hum of conversation was filled with confident voices of people who had achieved remarkable success. Maya felt small, almost invisible, as she entered the room, clutching her purse tightly. But then she remembered why she was there. She was not there to impress anyone with money or connections. She was there because of something far more important, her heart, her integrity, and her willingness to help someone when it mattered. That thought gave her courage. As she moved through the crowd, people began to notice her. Some smiled warmly, others nodded in recognition. Daniel, standing near the center of the room, waved her over. His smile was genuine and reassuring. "Maya, I'm so glad you came. These are people who were inspired by your story. They want to meet you, learn about you, and see how they can help." Maya took a deep breath and followed him. One by one, she was introduced to the group of 50 millionaires. Each handshake, each conversation felt surreal. They asked her about her life, her struggles, and her dreams. Maya spoke honestly, her words simple but heartfelt. She told them about the diner, her brother Alex, and how she had grown up facing hardship but always tried to act with kindness. To her surprise, the millionaires listened intently. They asked questions, offered advice, and even shared stories of times they had faced challenges themselves. Maya felt a connection with each of them, a sense that they were not just rich people observing someone's life from afar. They were genuinely interested in helping her succeed. One man, Mr. Reynolds, leaned forward. "Maya," he said, "your story reminds us that true success isn't just about money, it's about character, about heart. You've shown something rare in the world today. We want to support you in any way we can." Another woman, Mrs. Patel, nodded in agreement. "We believe that with guidance and resources, you can achieve so much more than you ever imagined. We want to give you the tools to grow, to create opportunities not just for yourself, but for those around you." Maya felt tears prick at her eyes. For the first time in a long time, she felt truly seen. She realized that the act of helping someone else, spending her last $10, had opened doors she never thought possible. She had always believed in kindness, but now she understood its power in a way she had never experienced before. Throughout the day, the conversations continued. Maya was offered scholarships to complete her education, mentorship from successful business leaders, and even the chance to invest in a small business of her own. Each opportunity seemed more incredible than the last. She listened carefully, taking notes, asking questions, and expressing gratitude. Every interaction reinforced her belief that doing good, even when it costs you something, can create a ripple effect far beyond what anyone could predict. Between introductions, Maya found a quiet corner to catch her breath. She thought about Alex, about the life they had struggled through together, and about the dreams she had kept tucked away for years. For so long, survival had been the only goal. But now she saw a future full of possibility. She could learn, grow, and create a better life, not just for herself, but for the people she loved and the community she cared about. As the event wound down, Daniel approached her again. "You've handled this so well," he said. "Remember, this isn't just about what we can give you, it's about what you do with it. We believe in you, Maya. Now it's your turn to take these opportunities and make a difference in your life and in the lives of others." Maya nodded, feeling a mixture of awe and responsibility. "I understand," she said, "and I won't forget why I'm here. I want to make sure that every chance I get, I use it to help others too." By the time she left the hall, Maya felt transformed. The city streets seemed brighter, the air lighter. She walked home with a sense of hope that had been absent from her life for years. She thought about the ripple effect she had created, simply by choosing to act with kindness. One small gesture, one simple decision to help someone in need, had brought 50 strangers into her life who wanted to invest not just in her future, but in her dreams. That night, she shared everything with Alex. They went through the letters, the emails, and the contacts she had made. His excitement was contagious, and together they imagined the possibilities. Finishing her education, starting a small business, even creating a program to help other young people in need. The future felt bigger than she had ever imagined, and for the first time, Maya felt that life's hardships were not just obstacles. They were lessons that had prepared her for this very moment. As she lay in bed that night, Maya reflected on the strange and wonderful journey of the past few days. From the diner to the Hall of Millionaires, her life had taken a turn she could never have predicted. She thought about the choice she had made, to spend her last $10, and realized that it wasn't just the money that mattered. It was the courage to act, the belief in doing what was right, and the faith that goodness could return to her in ways beyond imagination. And while she knew challenges were still ahead, Maya also knew that she was no longer facing them alone. She had mentors, supporters, and a network of people who believed in her. She had the chance to create a life filled with opportunity, growth, and kindness. And most importantly, she had learned that one simple act of generosity could create a ripple that touched lives far beyond her own. The days following the event with the millionaires felt like a dream to Maya. Each morning she woke up, she half expected to find that it had all been imagined, a trick of the mind. But the letters, emails, and calls told her otherwise. The opportunities were real and they were waiting for her. She had always believed that hard work and kindness mattered, but she had never imagined they could open doors this wide. The first opportunity came in the form of a scholarship. One of the business leaders, Mr. Reynolds, had personally arranged for Maya to receive full financial support to continue her education. The letter explained that the scholarship would cover tuition, books, and even living expenses if necessary. Maya read the letter over and over, her eyes misting with tears. She had dreamed of finishing her education but had always thought it was impossible. Now that dream was within reach. Alex was the first to notice her reaction. "Maya, are you crying?" he asked, his voice filled with excitement. Maya nodded, a small smile breaking through her tears. "Yes, Alex, but these are happy tears. This could change everything for us." With the scholarship in place, Maya began attending classes at a local college in the afternoons while continuing her shifts at the diner in the mornings. It was exhausting, but for the first time, her exhaustion felt meaningful. Every lecture, every assignment, felt like a step toward a future she had only dared to imagine. The professors were impressed with her dedication and curiosity. Despite the challenges she faced outside of class, she showed up every day with determination and humility. Meanwhile, her other opportunities began to unfold. A group of the millionaires had offered to mentor her individually, giving guidance on financial management, career planning, and business skills. Each mentor brought a different perspective, sharing wisdom from years of experience and teaching her how to turn her ideas into reality. Maya soaked up every word, her mind buzzing with possibilities. One evening, after a particularly long day of classes and diner work, Maya sat with her mentor, Mrs. Patel, discussing ideas for a small business. Maya had always dreamed of opening a community cafe, one that could provide jobs for young people struggling like she and Alex had struggled, a place where kindness was not just encouraged but lived. Mrs. Patel smiled as Maya shared her vision. "That's a wonderful idea, Maya," she said, "and now you have the means to make it happen. You've already inspired people with your kindness. Imagine what you could accomplish when you combine that with education, planning, and support." Maya felt a surge of hope. For years, she had thought of her dreams as distant, almost unreachable. Now, she realized that her past struggles had prepared her for this moment. Her resilience, her empathy, and her courage had all led her here. It wasn't just about receiving help. It was about using the help wisely to create something meaningful. In addition to mentorship and scholarships, some of the millionaires had offered to help her launch her business. One had connections to suppliers, another to local marketing experts, and yet another to financial advisors. Together, they formed a network that could guide her every step of the way. Maya spent evenings and weekends meeting with them, learning about budgeting, planning, and management. It was overwhelming at times, but she was determined to make the most of every opportunity. At the diner, the regular customers noticed a change in her as well. She carried herself with a new sense of confidence and calm. Her smile was still warm, but it now held a quiet assurance, a sense that she had a purpose beyond the daily struggles. Even in her interactions with coworkers and customers, she began to inspire others, sharing her experiences and encouraging them to act with kindness in their own lives. One day, Maya received a call that left her speechless. A local media outlet had heard her story and wanted to do a feature on her. They wanted to highlight how her simple act of generosity had sparked a chain reaction, inspiring not just wealthy leaders but everyday people as well. Maya hesitated at first, feeling shy about the attention, but Alex encouraged her. "Maya, people need to hear this story. It could inspire someone else to do something kind, too." Reluctantly, she agreed. The feature aired and the response was overwhelming. Emails, messages, and letters poured in from people who had been touched by her story. Some shared their own struggles and thanked her for showing that even in hard times, goodness could make a difference. Others asked how they could pay it forward in their own lives. Maya realized that her small act had become much larger than she had ever imagined. It had sparked hope and inspiration in countless people. Through all this, Maya never lost sight of what mattered most: her brother Alex. She made sure he had everything he needed, from tutoring to extra support at school. She also shared the lessons she was learning from her mentors, encouraging him to dream big and believe in himself. Alex looked up to her in awe, seeing her not just as a sister, but as someone who could turn dreams into reality through courage and hard work. As weeks turned into months, Maya's business plan began to take shape. With guidance from her mentors, she found a small location for her cafe, designed a welcoming space, and began hiring local youth who needed jobs. The cafe was not just a place to eat, it was a community hub, a place where people could learn, work, and experience kindness firsthand. Maya poured her heart into every detail, from the decor to the menu, ensuring that her vision of warmth and community came to life. The grand opening day was a mixture of nerves and excitement. Maya stood in front of the small crowd gathered in her cafe, looking at the smiling faces of her employees, friends, and mentors. Daniel was there too, giving her a reassuring nod from the back of the room. Maya took a deep breath and spoke from her heart. "This cafe is not just about coffee or food," she said. "It's about kindness, opportunity, and believing in one another. It's about the power of small actions and how one simple choice can change not just one life, but many." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes as she looked at the faces before her. This was her dream realized, not just for her, but for everyone who had supported and believed in her. The cafe became a symbol of hope, a testament to the idea that even in the hardest times, courage, generosity, and determination could create something beautiful. As the days went on, Maya continued to grow. She attended classes, worked in her cafe, and met regularly with her mentors. Life was busy, sometimes exhausting, but she felt a sense of fulfillment she had never known. The challenges she faced now were different. They were exciting, meaningful, and full of potential. Every decision she made felt purposeful, guided by the lessons she had learned from both hardship and generosity. Maya also made it a point to give back. She created a program within her cafe to mentor young people who were struggling, much like she had struggled. She shared her story, offered guidance, and provided opportunities for them to learn skills, work, and gain confidence. Seeing their growth reminded her of the ripple effect that had started with one small act of kindness. One quiet evening, after closing the cafe and finishing a long day of classes, Maya sat on a bench outside, reflecting. She thought about the journey that had brought her here, the hardships, the struggles, and the small act of generosity that had changed everything. She realized that life's greatest rewards often came from selflessness, courage, and belief in something bigger than oneself. Her phone buzzed with a message from Daniel. "Proud of you, Maya. Keep shining. You're showing the world what kindness can do." She smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. It wasn't just about recognition, it was about validation of the path she had chosen. She had acted with her heart, and now the world was responding in ways she could never have predicted. Maya knew that the journey was far from over. There would still be challenges, setbacks, and tough decisions ahead, but she also knew that she was no longer alone. She had mentors, supporters, a community, and most importantly, the confidence that her own courage and kindness could lead to extraordinary things. That night, as she lay in bed beside Alex, she whispered softly, "We're going to be okay, Alex. We have a future now, a real future, and it all started because we chose to care, even when it was hard." Alex smiled, snuggling closer to her. "I believe you, Maya. You've shown me that even the smallest acts can grow into something amazing." Maya drifted off to sleep, feeling a deep sense of peace. Life had not only given her opportunities but had taught her a vital lesson, that generosity, courage, and determination could transform not just a single life, but countless lives around it. And as she dreamed, she knew that the ripple of kindness she had started would continue to grow, creating a legacy far greater than she had ever imagined. Months had passed since Maya first walked into the hall full of millionaires. Since then, her life had changed in ways she could never have imagined. Her cafe, Heart and Home, had become more than just a place to eat. It was a community center, a hub of hope, and a place where people could feel welcome, valued, and inspired. Every morning, Maya arrived early, turning on the lights, arranging fresh flowers on the tables, and preparing the cafe for the day ahead. The aroma of fresh coffee and baked goods filled the air as she unlocked the doors. Employees, many of whom had faced challenges similar to hers, were already bustling about, eager to start their shifts. Maya greeted each one personally, asking about their families, their studies, and their dreams. She had created more than jobs. She had built a space where young people could grow, learn, and find encouragement. Alex had grown alongside her cafe. He was now a teenager with confidence and ambition. Maya had ensured he had a good education, extra tutoring, and opportunities to explore his interests. Together, they had built a life that felt stable, safe, and full of promise. Yet, Maya never forgot the small beginnings, the nights when they went to bed hungry, the times when they worried about rent, and the moment when she had spent her last $10 to help a stranger. It was that one act of courage that had set everything into motion. On one particular morning, Maya was arranging pastries when the door jingled. She looked up to see Daniel, the CEO whose breakfast she had paid for months ago. He smiled warmly, carrying a small box of pastries from a nearby bakery. "I wanted to check in," he said. "And I brought some treats for the team." Maya smiled, feeling a rush of gratitude. "Thank you, Daniel. You have no idea how much this means to all of us." Daniel shook his head. "I think I do. You've taken the kindness I witnessed and multiplied it 100 times over. You didn't just accept help. You've created a place where others can grow, learn, and find hope. That's rare in the world today." Maya felt her throat tighten. She thought about the journey that had brought her here. From a small diner with only $10 to her name, to a bustling cafe that inspired the community, life had transformed in ways she could never have predicted. It wasn't just the opportunities she had received, it was what she had done with them. She had taken guidance, mentorship, and resources and turned them into something meaningful, something that extended beyond herself. The cafe had become a hub of activity. Local musicians performed on weekends, children came for after-school programs, and volunteers from the community helped teach classes and workshops. Maya's vision had grown bigger than she had imagined. Every corner of the cafe reflected warmth, encouragement, and opportunity. It was a place where everyone, regardless of their background, could feel welcome and inspired to act with kindness. Maya also started a small foundation connected to the cafe, aimed at supporting young people who faced financial or emotional struggles. The foundation provided scholarships, mentorship, and part-time work opportunities. It was her way of paying forward the generosity that had changed her life. She remembered Daniel's words, "It's not just about what we can give you, it's about what you do with it." Maya had taken that advice to heart, ensuring that her success created opportunities for others. One afternoon, a young woman approached Maya while she was helping a new employee learn the cash register. She looked nervous but hopeful. "Excuse me," she said. "I heard your story. I'm struggling right now, and I was wondering if there was any way you could help me." Maya smiled gently. "Of course. Come sit with me. Let's talk about what you need and we'll figure it out together." As the young woman shared her story, Maya listened carefully, offering encouragement, advice, and opportunities to learn and work in the cafe. She remembered herself at that age, struggling to survive and dreaming of a better life. Helping this young woman was more than just an act of generosity. It was the continuation of a ripple that had started long ago, when she had chosen to act with kindness, even with nothing to give. Word of Maya's cafe and foundation spread quickly. People from all over the city came to visit, inspired by the story of a young woman who had transformed her life through courage, generosity, and determination. Local newspapers featured her story, highlighting how one small act could spark change far beyond anyone's imagination. Maya often found herself reading letters from people who had been touched by her journey, each one a reminder that her choices mattered, that kindness truly had the power to create change. Despite her busy schedule, Maya never lost sight of the small details. She made sure every employee felt valued, every customer felt welcome, and every young person in her foundation felt supported. She had learned from her mentors that leadership wasn't about power. It was about empathy, understanding, and action. She led by example, showing that success could coexist with compassion. One evening, after closing the cafe, Maya and Alex sat on the small balcony outside their apartment, looking over the city lights. The skyline sparkled, each light a symbol of opportunity and hope. "Maya," Alex said softly, "I can't believe how far we've come. I never thought life could be like this for us." Maya smiled, wrapping her arm around him. "Neither did I, Alex, but it's important to remember where we started. All it took was one choice, a choice to act with kindness even when it seemed impossible. That choice brought us here, and now it's our turn to help others find their way." Alex nodded thoughtfully. "I understand now. Life isn't just about getting help. It's about giving help too, even when it's hard." Maya felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had come full circle, from a young woman struggling to survive to someone who could offer hope, guidance, and opportunity to others. Her cafe was not just a business. It was a living example of how one small act of kindness could ripple outward, touching countless lives. In the months that followed, the cafe continued to thrive. Maya expanded programs for youth, collaborated with local schools, and created workshops for skill building and personal development. The employees she had hired were growing into confident, capable adults. Many had discovered talents they never knew they had, and some even started their own small projects inspired by the cafe's supportive environment. Maya's story inspired others beyond her city. Social media and news outlets shared her journey, showing that one act of generosity, done without expectation, could ignite hope across communities. People wrote to her, thanking her for demonstrating that kindness, courage, and determination could create extraordinary results. Maya often responded personally, reinforcing the idea that every individual has the power to make a difference, no matter how small their actions may seem. One crisp winter morning, as Maya arranged flowers on the tables, Daniel returned once again, this time bringing several of his colleagues. "We wanted to see how far your vision has come," he said, smiling. "It's incredible. You've not only achieved your dreams, you've given countless others the chance to achieve theirs as well." Maya felt a warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you," she said softly. "It wasn't easy, but it was worth every moment, and it's only just the beginning." "There are so many more people I want to help," Daniel nodded. "That's exactly the spirit that makes a difference in the world. You've turned generosity into a movement, Maya, and it all started with your courage to act, even when you had nothing to give." That night Maya sat with Alex, reflecting on the journey they had shared. From the hardships of their early life, to the small diner where she had spent her last $10, to the thriving cafe and foundation they now ran, every step had been a testament to resilience, faith, and selflessness. "I can't believe how far we've come," Alex said. Maya smiled, looking out at the city. "Believe it, Alex, and remember this. Life will always test you, but the choices you make, especially the ones made with kindness, can create a ripple far beyond what you ever imagine. That's the real power we all have." As the city lights twinkled in the distance, Maya felt a deep sense of peace and purpose. She had transformed not only her life, but the lives of countless others. Her story had become a symbol of hope, showing that courage, kindness, and determination could create extraordinary change. And though she knew challenges would always come, she also knew that with a generous heart and unwavering resolve, anything was possible. The ripple she had started months ago, with a single act of generosity, had grown into a wave that would continue to touch lives for years to come. Maya had learned that life's greatest rewards often came not from wealth, fame, or success, but from the courage to act with love, even when it seemed impossible. And with each new day, she continued to lead, inspire, and create a legacy that would endure far beyond herself.